We're really going to turn the tide with these thumbnail changes.
There's a joke there somewhere. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome. Hello. This is the one about Godzilla movies.
Sure is.
I'm Caleb.
And I'm Brian.
And we're here to talk about a movie. Surprise. As if you didn't figure that out from the title. So before we jump in, I just want to shout out our Patreon, which starting with episode 14, we'll actually have like bespoke extra content in it. And you can join for $1 a month at patreon.com/theoneaboutgodzillamovies. Link
That's
in the
less
bio
than a coffee.
and all that. It's definitely less than anything that you can. It's really less than anything. We're pretty much like the cheapest thing in the world right now. So, thanks, Obama. No, wrong.
2012.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's a shout out for Patreon. We, if you like us, we like you. And if you want to give us some money, we'll give you more of this content. In general, I've been doing some editing of like the backlog of shows we have. It's usually like 5 to 10 extra minutes of content, per episode.
On average,
Yeah. So that's pretty neat. So we're reacting to the movie Shin Godzilla from 2016 for a very special reason. Not a special reason, but a very cool reason.
A valid reason, some would say.
Brian, can you tell us why we skipped to the end, basically, to watch Shin Godzilla when I've been basically dying on a hill for the last 18 episodes about why it'll be the last one that we watch?
Hey, as far as I'm concerned, it can also be the last one we watch for this podcast, but TBD. We decided to insert in because they happened to decide to do a rerun of Shin Godzilla in 4K. My understanding is the first time it was in the theater, it was not in 4K. This time it was in 4K. And so I had the opportunity to see Shin Godzilla in the theater.
Same. Because I didn't
hard to pass that up. Really hard to pass that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the other day from this recording, went and saw it. There were 2 dudes in the row behind me, and that's it. It was sort of late afternoon. No one was there.
Nice. Do you want to hear about my experience?
It wasn't it was not the hot button, probably not the hot ticket movie of the night. It was a Thursday night, so there was new movies coming out, and I'm sure it wasn't what most people were going to see. So I was able to take some notes and write down things that I thought were cool without bothering anybody.
Nice.
You know how like so just picture the movie theater. I don't. Words are hard.
Walls, dark.
So, there'll be like different rows to the theater, but then sometimes there'll be different sections, and it'll be separated by sort of like a wooden wall, and then like the next row will actually be much lower.
Yeah.
So it just so happened that my row was one of those where like directly behind me was like sort of an additional maybe 18 inches of wooden wall. So I was able to sort of like sneak some notes on my phone, probably without even it being visible.
Nice.
To the naked eye. So I felt good about that. And boy, the only 2 times I've done this, boy, my typemanship with my thumbs just really came into focus. I'm like trying to write enough so that I can like fix it later. I'm like, why is it so hard to type Godzilla in the dark? I don't know.
I missed T9.
Title. Anyways, T9 would be much harder. So that's why we're talking about this movie right now.
I would type paragraphs in T9 with my thumb without having to look at it, like phone down on the floor, just like
nice
forever. Maybe that's just a difference in when we came up.
I paid by the minute at the time, and
whatever.
I used all of my minutes texting. That's for sure. I was not calling anybody.
Nights and weekends.
I'm a true millennial.
Free nights and weekends. Yeah, dude, my theater, there was like a father and son, the row in front of me. And the theater I went to is an AMC theater, and they have like the reclining poofy leather chairs. So it's pretty great. And then there were, I don't know how old they were, maybe a early college age or something, but like 4 or 5 boys who were like either the row behind me or a couple rows back, and they were all right. They were like whispering to each other through the whole film, but it wasn't like distracting. It actually kind of like it added to the experience because something crazy would happen and they'd be like, whoa, whoa, like under their breath, like we'll get to it. That's but that last shot up his tail and they're doing the detail work on that. They're sitting there going, oh, what? Like it was pretty great. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I was thankful I've seen the movie as many times as I have because I did not get any sleep the night before, so I was like struggling by 9 p.m. And I definitely fell asleep a couple times in the long dialogue sections.
Yes,
but like
yes.
Yeah, it was a good time. It's a good time. It was great to see it in theaters. I didn't get to see it when it first came out either. So it's because the run here the run here in America was super small and yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't come to Michigan at the time. So
totally. Okay.
Yeah, dude.
Sick.
Let me do a quick little synopsis of this thing and then I want to ask you a question and then I'll talk about some stuff. So Shin Godzilla, it's another reimagining of the origin story of Godzilla. We're in modern Japan. And this time this is the first time we ever get like a rapidly evolving, changing version of Godzilla. Later on in the franchise from where we are now, back in the 60s or 70s or something, as we go on, there's an arc where like he is kind of evolving or something's happening to him, but it's over multiple films.
Okay.
It's not like they were doing anything like they did in this film. So really just the first time we get a evolution form of Godzilla. He's born from nuclear contamination. He emerges in Tokyo Bay, and the Japanese government just like is immediately struggling with paralysis, like bureaucratic paralysis and international pressure to get a handle on this thing. And then as Godzilla grows, he becomes this destructive force. He's tearing things down. We've got the United States breathing down their neck. And then we've got scientists and biologists racing to kind of come up with a countermeasure. And so really the film just kind of paints Godzilla as it's a disaster thriller, a political satire, talking about how institutions kind of respond or fail to respond to unprecedented crisis. I'll get into that a little bit more. There's some it's cool how they changed up the nuclear focus of this movie. So, but yeah, it's just, there's this crazy thing that comes up out of the ocean and the Japanese government doesn't really know how to respond to it. And that's basically the focus of the film. So
yeah, it's known for being the sort of the creepy one. It's super standalone as far as I know.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing
kind of
else.
A love letter to the fans.
Yeah. So what did you think of it? Just first blush, you don't have to give me any ratings or, well, actually I want to do that too. What did you rate it? What did you put it in Letterboxd?
I give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. I give it a 10 out of 10. It's my favorite Godzilla movie.
Yeah. I expected that.
8 out of 10 is great. First blush, you just kind of walked out of the movie theater. Somebody's like, hey, what'd you think of that movie? What'd you think of the movie?
Yeah. Overall, some of some really, really, really cool visual scenes, some really unique angles, excellent use of scale, excellent use of scale. Better than any Godzilla movie that I think I've seen so far. Showing the size of what we're dealing with from a human perspective on the ground. I won't go into too much detail. Yes, overall, I give it so many stars, half stars for the visuals and the Godzilla part of it. The politics and dialogue aspect of the movie, I didn't latch onto super hard. Mm-hmm. I would have rather seen more of Godzilla on screen, but
yeah.
I think some of that allowed time away for Godzilla to build anticipation for the next appearance or the next moment where something would happen involving the character. So I guess that could be a plot device, but it both is and is not what I expected. So
Nice.
I expected some of the Godzilla aspects, some like the creepiness. There were some other things maybe with the visuals I didn't expect. Mostly I just didn't expect it to be so much about the politics and the bureaucrats and the red tape and figuring out how to make decisions in a crisis. It was very much about that.
Yeah.
Almost more than it is about Godzilla, but I don't know what the intention was.
Right. Yeah. Well, shoot. Let's sound the spoiler warning here, because from here I'm not going to hold anything back. So if you haven't seen this movie and you care, maybe tap out here and come back. Yeah, dude. I will say that, like, I appreciate that this was presented in Japanese with English subtitles. I try to watch content like this that way at least once, especially the first time I view it, or and then, like, if I'm going to view something a second or third time or I really like it, I'll probably try and find an English dub because like, I don't know, it's just kind of how I am, especially if it's something on a rewatch, like. So I own the, like, iTunes Apple version of this or whatever. I bought it on the iTunes store, and it has an English dub from Toho. And that dub is actually really great. And I think being able to, like, hear inflections on things, like, in English, the way that they, like, kind of meant to be, make those parts of the film a little bit more tolerable. And a little bit more interesting. There's one part that I'll probably make us, like, pull up and watch together, where there's one joke in the film and it fell completely flat in this version to me because you missed the inflection of the way the guy said it in the Japanese.
The joke lands in English for you, but not in Japanese.
Correct. And I'm sure it landed in Japanese, but, like, the reason it lands in English is because of the emphasis on the words in the phrase and the way he says it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Huh. Yeah. I actually hadn't really thought about the effect of the language on, the length and type of the scenes. Yeah. Would I be more interested by that stuff if it was in English? Maybe. Interesting. Yeah.
So if you watch it again, or maybe when we do watch it again, if we end up watching it at the end, maybe watch it in English. Just to kind of, because it really is really faithful. I've seen it enough times and heard it enough times that I was, like, reading the subtitles, I was hearing it. Like, it was weird sometimes when they would speak in English to me because the actors' voices are different than their dubbed voice. And so but they were saying basically the exact same thing in English as it had been in the dub because Toho did it. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was one little thing, like literally one little joke in the film. But to go back to the top, let's talk about characters a little bit. Obviously Godzilla, but there's there's one character I wrote down because I told you to keep the name in your mind from the last film that we watched.
Which I forgot.
Goromaki. So Goromaki was the reporter dude in the whatever it was, at Monster Island we watched, or Son of Godzilla.
Son of Godzilla.
Yeah. So he's the reporter dude that shows up and, wants the scoop, and he finds the girl and is just kind of like the main focus of the film. So that was the name of the character in that film. They just reused the name. I don't know why. I think mostly just because Anno, the director, went through and he pulled stuff out of every era of Godzilla intentionally for this film. There are pieces of music from different films that were reused. I'll talk about that in a minute, but recognize
some of them.
Yeah. So, and there's the Evangelion thing too, but so Goromaki was the name of that scientist in that movie, or the reporter in that movie. In this movie, Goromaki, the character, was like a scientist who had been, like, his wife basically got cancer from radiation, from like just mistreatment of radiation and stuff, and he was upset with the Japanese government for that, and he, like, just was very unhappy with Japan in general with how they were handling radiation, and that's kind of part of the like overtone
which
of the
they
film.
alluded to, but it wasn't like a huge thing. They just sort of mentioned it offhand almost.
So that's just kind of like a little Easter egg, that name. The dude, because they show his picture at one point when they do the whole day, they have like their version of the FBI or whatever find the information for Kyoko. The picture of the dude they show is this name, is in real life, the guy's name was Kihachi Okamoto. He was a director at Toho that did 51 films over his entire career. Most of them, though, like, he never did a Godzilla movie. He didn't do, I think he did one kaiju movie in the early 60s. But other than that, it was like epic war films. That, and like some samurai stuff and whatever. But yeah, he did 51 movies over the course of his career. And so they had, maybe Anno really liked his movies as well. And so, but just a fun little like Easter egg that it was kind of like
Dude, can you break down all the Easter eggs? Because I'm sure this one is just full of them.
Yeah. So, that's in my notes after I talk about characters a second. So,
sure. All right.
Higuchi is the young dude who right off the bat is like, I think we need to be paying attention to this, like the rumors of a large animal on the seafloor kind of thing. And they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yep.
What'd you think of that character in general? Because he moves throughout the whole movie from like, it's like he's very passionate about that, and his whole path in the movie is trying to find a way to like stay within the bureaucracy, but still know that he's right, kind of thing.
Yeah, mostly just his first introduction.
Once, so yeah,
sitting around a conference table, he had main character energy, so it was like pretty obvious he was going to be kind of like the guy.
Yeah. He's just I like him as a main character. I think in like the span of Godzilla films, he's one of my favorite like main characters, the main human characters. I think my favorite would have to be the dude from Godzilla -1. Really great main character.
I did find myself thinking about that movie a lot while I was watching this movie, actually, which is like maybe unfair, but
yeah. Well,
I have maybe some thoughts at the end, but
yeah. Well, it's just interesting that you saw that newest Toho film before this one. We're all over the place, but really, yeah. Like our three biggest players here in this film are Higuchi, Kyoko Ann Patterson, the American girl, the American Japanese girl who comes in, her, the son of or the daughter of a senator, all this kind of stuff. You've got Akasaka, who is like Higuchi's boss, or the dude that's over him, like who I like him as a character because he was that kind of like, yes, Higuchi, I see what you're saying, but like you need to stay in line here. He's trying to like keep that, like, you need to remember who you are, where you came from, kind of like, let's rein it in here text kind of feeling. Which is that's very Asian. It's very Japanese, very like honor based. Like, hey, this is a serious matter.
You can't think too highly of yourself.
Right.
It's not that's not cool.
Yeah. They're like, another good example of that is that scene where they've brought in that really genius girl, and she's analyzing the footage, and like she starts talking to the prime minister, and they're like sneering at her and like, what, how dare you, kind of thing. And she's just like, well, you guys are dumb.
She's just spitting the information out.
Yeah.
She does not care.
Doesn't care about decorum, doesn't care about bureaucracy, anything. It's just like, you asked me to come here and talk about this stuff, so here I am.
That whole committee, it was over like the whole movie, but the ones who were like doing the research, I've never seen so many scenes of people running as fast as they can with a laptop.
Yeah,
Like,
for real.
just the fastest laptop running I've ever seen in my life. Like, for what reason?
Yeah. Well, dude, that whole committee was so cool. Such a great little like ragtag group of like,
Very high energy.
yeah. I love it. I've just always found so the movie obviously like centers on this bureaucracy and this like paralysis and just like going back and forth between like there's all that debate at the beginning like how do we respond to this? We're going to use weapons. Okay, well like you're going to be using enough weapons and men that like this is basically an act of war, and we haven't done that since World War II, and like all of this like hand wringing and like
all the bureaucracy.
yeah, and you get the like it came off as funny to me, especially like after the second time I watched it, and then from then on, like how they're having this meeting in the prime minister's office, and then they're like, well, we need to like get some more information, so let's everybody move to the secretary cabinet or what, and it's like all these people plus then another 20 move to another room, and they do this whole meeting, and then it's like, oh well, all right, back to the prime minister's office, and then just like everybody out and again and shuffle back to another room, and like they played that up, I think intentionally. Do you remember the disaster that happened in Japan early 2000s after a tsunami where the nuclear site Fukushima, their nuclear reactor got
I remember hearing about it. I don't know a lot about it, but
essentially this movie, like, so the 1954 movie Godzilla had that nuclear allegory, talking about the trauma inflicted on Japan from Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and then like they even had an incident a few years later with, they called it Lucky Dragon number 5. It was like their first attempt at nuclear testing. Shin Godzilla kind of like still had that nuclear thing, but it's more of it was a metaphor for like Fukushima and how terribly like the government really, really just bumbled the whole handling of Fukushima. Like their initial response to, we have a radiator or like a core leak. It's leaking into our water. How do we stop this? How do we treat people? Like it was essentially this movie. All this back and forth, and we need to committees, and we need to, it's unprecedented, and and meanwhile, people are getting radiation poisoning and dying and don't have places to live because it was this massive like tsunami. So you could go look that up on your own. But like I remember, because what am I, 3 years older than you? 4 years older than you?
You're pretty old.
But I remember like I'm pretty sure I like made my dad buy me a T-shirt from Bungie, the video game company, because they were doing like a Halo, like Fukushima relief thing. Like I remember it being on the news a lot, and like just just kind of like intaking that kind of when it happened at the time. So, yeah, that has always just kind of been sitting in the back of my mind as I've watched this movie. It was just like, well, they went for the like 1954 nuclear thing, but it's more of just about how it's been mishandled ever since then, and not anymore about the like World War II incident. Yeah, let's talk about music for a second. Okay, so there's the Evangelion thing, the timpanis.
The timpanis is exactly the same, right?
It is, yeah. There are 3 different versions of it. That song is called EM20. I had to look it up.
They built it over the film. So like the first version was just the timpani. It was literally from Evangelion.
Yeah.
And then I think it sort of got orchestrated into like kind of the second one, and the third one I was like guitar.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Junk, junk, junk.
Yep.
Cancel. Stop doing that. So there's that. That's like straight out of Evangelion. That's his like getting ready for battle music, and it's used all through Evangelion. It's called EM20. But there are, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, six different movies worth of songs that were pulled from other Godzilla movies and used in this film. So,
because I heard the original theme at one point.
Yeah, so Godzilla Comes Ashore is from Godzilla in 1954, and that's the like when he comes up out of the womp, bump, 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 bump. Return of Godzilla is from King Kong versus Godzilla, and that's like the one that everybody knows. That's the one that's like sampled in that rap song. In fact, the same melody. The big orchestrated bump, 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 bump. So that's from King Kong versus Godzilla. There's a song called Godzilla Appears from Terror of Mechagodzilla. And I believe that's the one with the like really?
I heard that one.
Yeah.
They use that one a lot in Godzilla -1.
Yep. And then at the end of the film they used, I feel like this is just in the credits, they used the title for the title music for Godzilla 1954. The main title music for Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, and then two different versions of the main title from Invasion of Astro Monster, which are, we've seen all those movies recently, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just like a bunch of reaches into the past musically, and they credit the original composer, Akira Ifukube. I'm American. You'll get over it. Yeah, so it's just cool to see that there is a whole bunch of, there are 26 songs on this soundtrack, but like a good handful of them are from within the franchise and just great little callbacks, and not even reimaginings. They're just straight up out of their original movie. So the main thing I really want to talk about though is the like callbacks to 1954, and I've even got like
got a list.
Yeah, I've got 10 like specific scene by scene homages that were done. Like 10
I recognize
specific
one for sure. Recognize one.
We're gonna pull direct from 1954, and like what's really cool though is that a lot of this stuff isn't just like, it's not like, oh hey, that was a nice little thing. There are like beat for beat, shot for shot things, which is really kind of cool. That you can, well, I'll talk about that in a minute. So first one is his roar. That's not a new Godzilla roar. That is a cleaned up,
the OG,
stretched out, like the OG original roar. And I love it. It was so cool to hear it that loud in the theater. I don't know about the theater that you saw it in, but the AMC here that are notoriously
turned up to 11.
Notoriously low end heavy, like very low end heavy. So that, just like, it's like getting blasted in the face. It was amazing. His footfalls, his like stomping around, those are also directly lifted from the 1954 sound library unedited. I mean, like cleaned up, but like it's that same huge seismic, like walking sound.
Okay.
Well, let's see. We talked about the music stuff already. Nuclear allegory a little bit. Yeah, how it's just more of a, instead of it talking about the trauma of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, there's his origin in the ocean. He just kind of comes up out of Tokyo Bay, right? And I have kind of always seen that as like Japan has a very wounded past with the sea and external threats and external enemies, and just kind of being stuff just being shoved upon them, which is also explored in this movie quite a bit. And there's that kind of like, the thing that I got that I get the most out of the human side of the story in this is this like ineptitude and Japan grappling with this idea of like, are we a real country, or are we just gonna like, do we just let the United States tell us what to do? And like, how long is, there's that line, how long is post-war in the movie? You know, they're talking about post-war Japan, and Higuchi's like, well, how long is post-war?
Right.
And but them also, they're, you know, like wanting to be independent, and like, you know, we're a big kid, but then also just being this inept at responding to something this crazy, and like going back and forth is that was a theme in the 50s movie as well, was this like, we kind of did, it wasn't so drawn out, but there was basically just oscillating back and forth between officials in suits shuffling around between meetings, and then just catastrophe happening outside, and they're completely
and also similarly, they didn't know what it was. Like, it wasn't a named threat yet.
Right.
It was like new territory.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between a zombie movie where everyone knows what a zombie is versus a zombie movie where they're like, what is happening? Why won't this person die? There's a difference.
Yep.
So I noticed that for sure.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like they don't know what this is yet.
Yeah, we're truly starting from like the beginning.
Which is also similar to the 54.
Yep. The first time he uses his atomic breath is it's a very shocking escalation already of what, like, completely out of nowhere.
The way that it was done, oh my gosh. We'll talk about it.
I mean, we can talk about it right now. I don't care. That's cool. Like, dude.
Bro, the way they did it.
It still, to this day, gets me at, like, I have goosebumps about it right now. The first time I saw it, just...
Well, it was first the glow, right? The pink glow was first, right?
Yeah, so there's the purple
Or was it
glow.
red first?
No, he's glowing red.
He's always red. You can't really see it till it's night, and then you can see that he's glowing red.
Yep.
But it was the buildup of it was
the United States dropping the stealth bombers dropping those armor piercing rounds on him was the like big protagonist. That's when it starts to that point. Yep.
Right. Honestly, what it reminded me of from like the glowing to then I think the first is flames, right?
Yeah.
And then it like goes into like the jet.
Yeah.
Like almost like the blue jet. It was literally like if you've ever like lit a little propane stove, you like pump it, you prime it, you light it. It starts as like a yellow flame, and then like as it like warms up, like it warms up to like a jet engine, and it turns blue.
Yeah,
and it's pure blue flame. It was literally like a propane stove, like that progression of
Oh, I love too where it was just like he's like looking down, and it's just like clouds of not even lit, whatever it is, just pouring out of it. And you could see it spread through the city, and then he then it lights, and everything just like freaks out, and then focuses, like you said, like in intensity.
Almost like you're adjusting the propane level to
such a cool idea,
like a butane kind of a
really a great way of show the physicality of that, like how it's actually like it's hard on his body to do that kind of.
Mm-hmm. And then we also reveal that he can do that out of many areas of his body.
Well, dude, first of all, can we talk about his like lower jaw splitting open?
Yes. So it's literally like
crazy.
They obviously took inspiration from a snake and the way they can unhinge their jaw to open it twice as big.
Yeah.
It is so like unnerving.
Yeah.
To see like Godzilla's mouth twice as large as it should be.
Well, and we already get the like sense that he's already stretchy and weird from the first time that he roars, way like 35 minutes into the film, 40 minutes into the film, that like, and he's got all the weird stretchy red stuff on the side of his face, kind of like a snake a little bit, but to like see him just like open up like that is so cool. And then Yeah, so the United States bombers come back around for another round of dropping bombs, and he shuts off the main cannon and turns on his dorsal fins, which is a first in the series. It's never been done. And I lost my shit when that happened the first time I saw it. I was just like, I think I was just screaming. I was just screaming.
So atomic breath just like flying out of his back in all directions.
And using, like, moving his body to, like, move all that around like that is so sweet. Dude, the way his, like...
And then later, the tail move.
Yeah.
So, like, later on, he has one jet coming out of his mouth and the other one coming out of his tail.
And he's just, like...
He's aiming it around.
Waving him around. Yeah. Yeah, dude, absolutely bonkers. The thing too is, like, so he starts the smoke or whatever, and then as he, like, lights the flame, that, like, shield goes over his eyes black out.
That's true. It's like the second eyelid thing that a lot of reptiles have.
Yeah, but
except that it just blacked out almost.
Yeah. Dude, let's get through these last couple 54
References,
things,
Easter eggs.
and then we can come back and talk about his design, and then I want to do scene by scene homage stuff. So
Okay. Sick.
atomic breath, there's all that. We're going to talk more about his design because I want to talk about his eyes, I want to talk about his teeth, I want to talk about all
the
of it.
things.
So in 1954, they are, there's the government wringing their hands and they don't know what to do. And they're like, our weapons are useless against him. We've been beaten multiple times now, just like in Shin Godzilla. And then there's this scientist who has this, like, the oxygen destroyer bomb is what it's called in 1954. And that is this, like, desperate science Hail Mary, just kind of like, we don't have a long-term plan, but we need to, like, survive right now. Immediate survival is the key here. So we're just gonna, this is the best we got. And the Yashiori plan, where they, like, freeze his blood, just that kind of cool, like, same thing. We don't, like, this is the best we got. We're just going to throw something at it. We've done all this, like, biology research. I know that I've made this point in so many films, and it's because of this movie. This movie does an excellent job of treating the solution like it did actually take a lot of work and effort and blood, sweat, and tears to come up with. And it isn't just we've got this magical thing has just appeared from science. Yay, hooray.
Right. Convenient MacGuffin thing.
Exactly. And I think that's part of what makes this film, like, you feel the stakes all the way through. You feel how, like, the pressure against the clock all the way through. So I've just always really liked that kind of, like, it's a spiritual callback to the oxygen destroyer. But I think that's just partly, it's like, it's uniquely the director, his kind of, like, that's in his niche a little bit, is to be very scientific. Like, we saw that from Evangelion, how that is just, like, super detail oriented. And then you said this already, my kind of last thing here, just general homages to 1954, is the human scale and all those shots of, like, people fleeing, trains abandoned, quiet streets then after with, like, rubble everywhere. Just really great echoes of the way that Honda in the original film just framed ordinary people kind of caught in the crossfire here of Godzilla, right?
Right.
So, yeah, let's talk about monster design for a second, and then we can talk about the Pink Floyd Wizard of Oz 1954 Shin Godzilla, like, scene by scene lineup things.
Okay.
So yeah, monster design, take it away.
Dude.
Do you know how it was done? because it is digital animation. I think it's easy to tell that it's a digital monster, but it was suitmation, like suit capture.
So they mo-capped it?
Yeah, so it was motion capture with an actor and then digital on top. So it's kind of like this weird...
Yeah, as a starting point.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like it's like a weird kind of like, it's not quite suitmation or whatever, but it's not just straight up all digital either. They had, I don't know, some dude actually stomping around in some miniatures or something.
So I think we have to first talk about the different evolutions, because that's a thing.
Yeah.
So like when he first emerges, we're just seeing like the tail out of the water situation. And then they're first identifying it as kind of like almost like a lungfish.
Yeah.
And that they're sort of debating whether its legs can hold its weight. So it is, when it first comes ashore, it's moving much like a snake. The head movement is serpentine, and it's like wriggling exactly like a snake.
He's basically just got the back legs like kind of.
The back legs are just kind of pushing it forward like a little bit, but it's not upright. And
okay, so that scene,
it looks really different.
Like, goes scooting by, and the gills and just like the blood dropping out of the gills onto the street, dude.
Super interesting to see those gills. Like the body type is like a lot of like lungfish, salamander kind of things. There's only back legs. It's moving very serpentine. The head shape is a lot like a snake. And the eyes are almost like, the eyes look very goofy and silly, but they're not unlike, like a salamander or something like that. It's very much like they're really leaning into like the evolution concept and like the land or the sea to land kind of an idea, it seems.
Yeah.
Especially having those gills. So
I was just thinking too, and just realized that the eyes are a really good sense of scale for him as well, and like showing how much he's grown. Because if you think about how big the eyes are at the beginning in that first form, and then how tiny they are by the final form.
That's true.
And in general, in biology, when things are born, their eyes are already the size that they're going to be through that creature's entire life, including humans. We're born with our eyes being the size that they will be our entire life. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting.
I am not a Pokemon guy, but I couldn't help but see the 3 evolution kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You start off with like the whatever you want to call it,
your starter Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, you've got to think of a way of like coming up with the other Godzilla names for the first 2 forms, where the final one is Godzilla, whatever the first 2 would be called. But there's that clear moment where he like stands up on his hind legs and literally in real time like morphs into like an upright version.
That animation on the
morph,
still like ripply skin and stuff was so cool.
Yeah, it was like in real time, and that's still only like, that wasn't the final form.
No.
But so that would be like the next form to talk about. Like the head shape shifted a little bit. You got like a little more bulk. The legs clearly like thickened up, but it still didn't really look like Godzilla. It was like,
kind of had arms, but no hands.
Almost like a Anguirus or like some other kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like, nubs of front legs. But yeah, just enough to like walk.
Yeah.
It wasn't really that much bigger. It was just like different form.
Right. Yeah. And just like in a real time, very quick adaptation and an evolution to go from land or from sea to land. Like it was literally like got on shore, and then it took it from the time I got on shore to that far into Tokyo or whatever, into Sagami Bay, to then be like, oh, I need to be able to just like walk. I can't swim anymore. We're going to do that right now. Boom.
Yep. And then, of course, the final form. Yeah. Magnificent.
Absolutely nuts.
The best thing about it is just like, I just love the idea of like him looking like a like the crust of like a Texas brisket.
Yeah.
Kind of. Oh, there's a title. Um, except that you can see like the red like glowing through, but there's all like these. There's like this crispy texture, almost like charred meat.
Yeah.
It's almost like he was like on fire or something, like all the scales are just like burnt away.
And yeah, exactly.
But yeah, hulking figure. He's not like beefy like the legendary pictures per se. He's got like that crazy teeth thing going on.
Yeah.
Almost like if you took like how shark teeth work and then just had different teeth, a different style of teeth. But the idea of like shark teeth, there being many rows of teeth pointing in different directions, constantly being replaced, like that kind of an idea almost.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was an inspiration. Very unnatural, inconsistent, just the teeth kind of sticking every which way.
Yeah.
And and by that point, like the eyes are small.
Yeah.
But the eyes look like really more intelligent, I think, at that point.
Yeah, intelligent, but they're also just like small and they don't move, and like tiny little iris, like just staring right through you. There's no emotion in it. There is no, it's that like, I just almost see it as like he's not thinking anything. He's just like, I don't know why I'm here, and this is stupid. Like, like just this creature that is in pain and is now growing at a rate that, like, and then they get into like the repopulation thing and how his scales were potentially part of the repopulation process and stuff like that. Like, it just is. I feel like they did a really great job of calling back to 1954 and taking out any, like, he is just an animal who's just pissed off and is just trying to survive, and doesn't know where it is, and has, and now things are shooting at it, and that horror. Like horror, kind of like lifeless, like kind of, what am I thinking of? Is it like Jaws or whatever, where they're talking about how sharks' eyes are just like, there's nothing there. They're just dead black eyes,
It does look a little bit like that.
So I just think it adds to it's like he's disconnected from like what he is seeing happen to him has no ramification, like no effect on him at all. It's just, I am just here. I am just this terror.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then we still do see, I'm going to drop you this link while we're talking about it, just for context, but like when he uses the breath, we do see like the jaw unhinge, like that whole thing. And then, oh my gosh, I just thought of what it reminds me of. Have you seen the modern It or It Chapter 2?
No, I've not.
Oh my gosh. They do some wild stuff with Pennywise.
Okay.
Because canonically, he's like an alien. Okay. Is like the idea. But there is a scene where like his mouth opens so wide, and it's almost like you're looking into the sun, and there's like these concentric circles, and it's like sort of like, it's very similar to, which came first, this movie, I think, but someone drew inspiration from the other, or they had the same idea. It just really reminded me of like the same thing. I was wondering, because they made an offhand comment in the movie about, oh wow, he's like much taller than last time. Do you have on hand like how tall this Godzilla is relative to some of the other ones? Because I know we've had discussions in the past about, because he's tall. He's
tall.
He's real tall.
He's taller than any Toho Godzilla. I don't think he's bigger than the legendary Godzilla.
Okay.
And I know -1 was smaller. Is what I think off the top of my head without Googling anything.
Okay.
Let's see. I am right.
It's the tallest one from Toho so far.
Yes, 118.5 meters. Previously, he was 108 meters.
Okay. 118, you said?
Yep. And Legendary's Godzilla is 119.
Pretty similar then.
0.8 meters.
So
just
Godzilla
barely
-1 is shorter than that, or?
Yeah, -1 is, I
mean, it doesn't really matter, but yeah, they really made him look big for sure.
Oh yeah, he's only 50 meters tall. Which is like original 1954 size.
In -1?
Yeah.
Okay. So, 118 meters, pretty tall.
Mm-hmm.
He just seems so huge in this movie. And
Yeah,
they did
massive.
a lot of great work of showing that scale.
Did the end of the big attack scene, you know, like blown up the helicopter, wiped out the city, and then he like just stops moving, and there's that like sigh of relief in the music almost too, this like one big last like la, like cinematically, and then it pulls out to this wide lingering shot of just him in the middle of the frame, frozen, the like neck part all glowing red, and then just everything on fire behind him, and just like, oh, such a great shot. Much like that shot in Evangelion after it goes berserk and defeats that first angel by like ripping the AT field apart, and then it's just it's basically the same shot, but you replace the Ava with Godzilla. Yeah, dude, so good, so good. And then so like to jump all the way to the end, as long as we're talking about design. At the end of the movie, they've frozen Godzilla. He's standing there. They do all the like cleanup with the people. And then the last shot or the last like little mini scene or beat of the movie is we get close on Godzilla. And then we're just like traveling up his body, up his tail. And as we get up his tail, it starts to transform from like skin and dorsal fins into, you can kind of see like body parts and little humanoid shaped things popping off the end of the tail, and hands and feet and heads that look like humans, but they have Godzilla spikes on them, and it just like freezes on that,
which we did not see earlier in the film.
No, that's another, it's like a progression from, because earlier in the film, after the first fight scene, he's frozen, and now they're trying to figure out what to do. There's just that little like chink, like his tail opens for some reason, like a little mouth opens on his tail. And then, at the end of the film, there's that whole,
I don't remember that
crazy
moment.
thing.
I do remember there's a moment where there's kind of like underground almost. There's like this slime or something, and they make a comment about asexual reproduction or something.
Yeah.
They make a comment. And it made me wonder, like, oh, are they going to do like the baby Godzilla thing like they almost did in 1998 kind of a thing? Or,
Right.
I wasn't sure where they were going to go with it. But
Yeah. Well, they talked
like,
about how
that
it
could have
like
been
he was,
an evolution.
Yeah. So they were talking about how he shed dorsal fins or spines or whatever during that fight, and those were like they were finding that those were the reproductive means, basically. Like babies would be born from that. It's freaking crazy. Yeah, dude. Just such a crazy, weird, sick design. A lot of fun.
So you have a list of
just
1954 references then?
Yeah. So I've got 10 scene by scene kind of homages where you could almost like, you could almost do the like Pink Floyd Wizard of Oz thing where you could line them up and they almost like, if you can get the timing right, they're essentially the same
Someone's done it,
thing.
you know?
Had to have. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember where I read it, but somebody kind of said that Shin Godzilla is like watching the same nightmare being redreamed 60 years later of like, yeah, I don't know. So first one, emergence from the sea. Just the way like most
We
of
open
the
on the
composition of
ocean.
the shot.
There's a boat.
Well, no, it's his emergence from the sea. Not even that, but just like when Godzilla comes up out of the sea for the first time, it's a very low angle ocean spray. It's like you're right there, and then like people watching in terror. So there's just that like big wake in the water and a disturbance the first time, and they do that same kind of like tight shot, like the tail bursts up out of the water, and then from there it's just like chaos.
Oh, wait, pause. Is Godzilla's tail longer in this movie than other movies?
Oh, so long.
So long.
So long. It's it's very, very long. It's as long as his body, pretty much.
It's so long.
And it's very cat-like. I've always loved his tail. It's just kind of doing its own thing in the background, like when he's not using it, when he's just walking.
Okay. So I'm
it's
not
just
crazy.
there. But it's like up in the air, way like my one cat walks around with his tail up in the air, and the tip is always doing some little thing. So I've always liked that, and cats are a very Japanese
Godzilla-like
thing. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And Godzilla-like as well. Yeah, sure. So that's our first homage, is that like emergence from the sea, just kind of that low angle, kind of mimicking his emergence near Odo Island in the first one. Then his first attack, his first like rampage, he's pushing through buildings. It's shot with lots of low, wide stuff. In the original, it's about a lot of practical miniatures. So this is like roughly 35 minutes into the first one, and then 40 minutes into Shin Godzilla. You've got him just kind of lumbering through the streets, crashing through stuff, and they just do a lot of the staging and collapsing of buildings and stuff, and then like camera angles. They tried to kind of
looks like miniature work.
That 54 feeling, right? We get that first military mobilization is very, very very similar to the Japanese Self-Defense Force, the JSDF, doing tanks and artillery. Get lots of wide shots of tanks lined up, like a whole like field of tanks and stuff getting ready to do battle. And there's that whole like symmetrical formation. We see all of this like weaponry firing all this stuff, and then we like cut to Godzilla, and he just doesn't do anything, completely unfazed by all of this, like the military being like, yeah, we freaking got him. Let's just,
Yeah, he doesn't seem to care.
Right. And then there's like that fight turns into the night raid, basically. We get those like explosions are happening. He's punching through buildings, or like they're hitting him with bombs, and his like head comes out of the smoke. That very like ethereal or like ghostly, like, there's smoke and searchlights coming across his body, and he just like appears. I thought that was a really great. They did really good, and they did that in -1 as well a couple times, where it just is like that was a big explosion. Did we get him? And then just there he is again. Number 5, the train attack. He like steps through through a commuter train, and we in the first one he just like crushes it, just like picks it up and just like, and it's a real like low tight shot again to just really feel the like scale of it. And in this one they do where they just, you essentially see a commuter train line, and then it's just his foot straight through it.
I noticed
style, like,
a shot of several train cars just flying across the screen. I think that was like literally an homage shot. Like I'm pretty sure that same shot is in 54.
Yeah. We talked about this already, but his atomic breath debut, just like him cutting buildings in half and it just like tearing skyscrapers down mid-floor and all that kind of stuff is very, very obviously his atomic breath in this movie is this purple beam that literally is like a sword slicing through things, but like, yeah, just lots of lingering wide shots of this destruction happening from the first time that he uses his atomic breath. Lots of very close-up, narrow street shots of civilians in panic. And then also lingering shots of the aftermath of not only like building aftermath, but like damage and like people in hospitals and or random rooms just like crammed into, like women and children kind of very up front, wounded on blankets, overwhelmed. A lot of
like blankets lined up on the gym floor vibe.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, in a direct, like right after the night raid scene kind of thing. So it like their pacing follows, even kind of like the whole film. Burning Tokyo, that's another one. We talked about that, but that like the panoramic shots that in the original they did, mats where they would do two things over top of each other, right? So they had to like mat in Tokyo burning with their destruction stuff or whatever, right? And so in this time we get almost like long, like drone type shots with modern CGI, obviously replacing the fire, but still just like, yeah, just. And then his, this last one is it's something that we see in just like almost every single movie, is him just kind of like retreating into the ocean. And they don't end the movie with Shin Godzilla retreating into the ocean, but a lot of Godzilla movies, and especially, well, in 1954 specifically, ends with kind of like his tail sinking into the ocean, just that like final shot. So that final shot of like traveling up the tail and lingering on just that at the end is kind of that like nice little, reference to that kind of him withdrawing to the sea kind of thing.
And on the tail.
Yeah. So it's not, for me, like the movie feels kind of uncanny, and it is because it's like, it's not just like a spiritual, like they weren't just gonna, it's a love letter to the 1954 film, but like they structurally echoed it as well. Like I said, beat for beat, and really kind of swapping all of the feelings of nuclear trauma for like this systematic collapse.
Yeah, some similar things.
Yeah.
The whole first and second evolutions thing, though, completely original.
Yeah.
The weird serpentine thing going down the river with just like the boats piling up and everything. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but
yeah. Well, but it's really cool. The whole like there are still three encounters in this film, and like there are three encounters in most of them or whatever. Where it's like, oh, he shows up, we don't know what to do. We're gonna fight him the first time, we fail at it, and then we're gonna get him the third time. But yeah, like adding in him changing so quickly. Like I said, Godzilla's never evolved so quickly in a movie. There's evolution that happens, like I said, later, or in movies that we haven't seen yet, but it's over multiple films.
Yeah.
So let's do some. That's all I got. Yeah, that was my kind of thing. Let's go through. Let's do Brian. Grumpy Brian Man time or whatever.
I need to let you know, when we first see Godzilla with like the goofy eyes and like the serpentine thing going on.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really look like Godzilla. My initial thought was like, oh, is this going to be...
what he fights?
Yeah. Is this going to be a kaiju v kaiju film? It was not. But there was a second there where I was like, is that Godzilla? Like, with the goofy eyes? Like, what's happening right now?
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was going to be, something that they were unfamiliar with and were trying to figure out how to fight. And then maybe Godzilla was going to show up, which would have also been epic because, you know, with some of the shots in Evangelion, almost like Kaiju v Kaiju, like the wide shots of them facing off. I could have seen there being something like that in this film. But it turned out to just be evolution. So, wow. Loved a lot about this movie. I can start with some of the things I didn't like as much. I mean, I already like kind of talked about like, obviously this movie is almost more about the politics of how to deal with a crisis and the bureaucracy of it than it is about Godzilla. Like if you just look at the minutes of the film, the majority is about that.
Yeah.
It's about the people and trying to make decisions and trying to work together to find a solution, which in some ways is a part of many Godzilla movies. But it was like very clearly like a movie about politics. Like even all like the comments that guy's friend was making about, you know, put me in for secretary. Like it felt very politically centered.
Yeah.
For a film, which like, yeah, it's a choice. I like focusing on Godzilla a little bit more, so I didn't love that as much. Specific things that I didn't love as much, like the first maybe 10, 15 minutes of the movie, and this could just be like Evangelion, like anime influence. It was extremely fast paced. So many quick cuts from scene to scene. There was like almost hard to follow what's going on. Yeah, it moves real quick. It felt, but it didn't stay that way. So that's where it feels inconsistent to me. It felt like that happened in the edit, maybe, where they were like, this movie's too long. We need to tighten up the beginning. And that ended up being the result.
Or if it was
but it's like, it really stands out as like, we're trying to save time. Let's just get through this, you know? And it's a lot of, I was noticing a lot of like really static shots. Like the camera, not a lot of camera movement, a lot of static shots where it's just flying from scene to scene. And it wasn't maybe unlike watching Evangelion, where there's, you know, to save money in animation, you don't have the camera move, you know, you have the camera stationary, so to speak, the virtual camera, however you want to look at it, and then your character is moving within the scene. It's cheaper to do that, obviously. Mm-hmm. And it has a look to it. It felt very anime inspired, at least at the beginning, and then that dissolved like after not too long, and it started to feel like a lot more like a normal live action movie, but it felt out of place to me.
Interesting.
There is one shot of a conference room where they have. Do you know what a dolly shot is? You know what dolly is?
Yeah, because like a.
So like technically, like a dolly is like a camera that's on rails of some kind,
right? Yeah,
and the
like
rails
a cart or something.
It's typically the rails move in one direction. It could be like almost like a train track on the ground, and like the whole rig with the camera guy is like on it and it's moving. Or sometimes it's just like a little thing with like these two bars, and it's literally just a way for the camera to just move sideways and pan, and it's an easy way to control it. There's a dolly shot of that of a conference room early on. It's like it's just a slow parallax panning shot where it kind of like turns as it goes, and it just does a full dolly from one end of the dolly to the other, and then stops. And then just like goes right back the other way. You would never, in a professional film, not cut from that. Like you wouldn't show it hitting the end of the dolly and then move back. Like it stood out so much to me. I was like, why? It didn't even look cool. I don't know. That was so dumb. And it was like boring conference talk anyways. I'm like, what? Why are we trying to make this more exciting by having this panning dolly shot? Like it's going to make the conversation more intense. Like what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. And then I only have like one more criticism, which is that the first two evolutions, which really are kind of like the same look, if you will, texturally of the Godzilla design, the resolution doesn't look like it's there.
No.
Like, it's not crispy. You can't like see the grit of it. It's like a little bit like Play-Doh-y, or like there's something about like the final rendering of it,
kind of,
where it doesn't really feel like it matches the environment.
Yep.
I almost wondered if they were like hitting budgetary constraints and they had to maybe save some money there so that they could make the final evolution be as badass as possible. It's just like, especially with like the weird motion that we're not used to, the different designs and all that, and then like the really goofy looking eyes, like it was hard for me to believe that thing is like actually in that river.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
yeah.
It made me aware that I'm looking at CGI, whereas like final form, dude, looks awesome.
Yeah, I've always kind of felt that way about that, about those kind of those evolutions of him, that it was just like.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing about CGI. I've ranted about this before, but there's so much CGI in movies nowadays that most people have no idea that they're looking at computer generated images, and it's literally like you're a sound engineer. You've run live sound before. No one cares about what you're doing until something goes wrong.
Oh yeah,
a sound engineer who's crushing it. No one has any idea. It's the same with CG.
Yep.
Like when they're crushing it, you have no idea it's there because it's so good.
Yep.
It only like stands out like that 5% or even less of the time with something just looks a little off, and it reminds you that you're looking at something that isn't real.
Yeah.
Which isn't what should happen. It should feel believable to you without having to question it. So that's my only real criticism, because the final thing looked so cool. They spent all of their money on that, obviously.
And you can't blame them.
Yeah, I'll just run through the movie. Love it, starting with the classic, like ocean. Okay, we're opening on the ocean. Oh, there's a boat. It's unoccupied, you know. The Coast Guard's, you know, noting there's this unoccupied boat.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's like so classic.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure several of the early movies we watched start that way. Like that. This is a total side thought that I just had that isn't in my notes, but I really like the way they did like the lower thirds graphics and stuff in this film, where they have like locations and titles of characters in English with the Japanese characters below. Like the design of it was really nice.
Yeah.
And then there were quite a few scenes in the movie where there's characters who for some reason just switched to English, and so the subtitles at the bottom kick in Japanese but continue in English at the top. And then there were some of those scenes in English where they were putting is it called kanji?
Yes, kanji, yep.
Where the kanji is vertical, which I believe is the normal orientation, but it's like on the left side or the right side of the screen.
Yeah.
Which was like a cool way of like just design wise of like the layout of how to show the subtitles, other than just like the regular old thing that's at the bottom.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought of, like, it caught my eye that the stuff was on the right or the left when they were
just a few
introducing
times.
it was like I feel like they saved it for specific types of people or something.
Yeah,
it was like the military people from the United States were the ones that got it, like when they were in that whatever office
usually
that was supposed to be.
Usually the subtitles are at the bottom unless there's something important at the bottom. So there was a lot of times in this movie where there was like an establishing a scene, like sort of graphics going on at the bottom, so the subtitles were up at the top. Yeah. You also see that oftentimes in a movie like this where like framing wise, like there's something in the frame of the movie that's at the bottom that's important. And so the subtitles, of course, always need to be like out of the way of the important thing that you're looking at. So sometimes they have to move to the top or something like that.
Interesting.
Anyways, so yeah, I liked all that. Like within the first 5 minutes, there's like a water main or something that bursts
in the tunnel.
It's like the start of the bureaucracy conversations. But yeah, in the tunnel, like breaks in it. It's probably just like rusty water, but it looks like blood. Like that was my first thought. Was like, wow, that looked like a deluge of blood.
I think it is blood, and they think like they misidentify it as just
that could be
water. Like,
I think it was meant to look like blood, whether it really was or not. But it was really cool.
Yeah.
I really liked the going back to square one of we don't know what this is, and the word Godzilla isn't known. Gojira or Godzilla, either way.
Yeah.
They, decide on that term at some point in the film, but
it's because it's that name is in the notes of Goromaki, that they get off the boat. He gave it the name Gojira, and then the United States gave it the name Godzilla.
Yep. So that comes in canonically.
Yeah.
It's cool to see like the red trail in the water where you can see where the Evolution 1 like swam in. There's just this red trail of blood in the water.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I just thought of another thing and then I forgot it. What was I just going to say? Oh, there's something I noticed. Anyways, it'll come back to me. A super random thing I noticed. I just thought of that other thing. Do I have ADD?
I don't know what HD is, but the doctor says I got 80 of them.
Another version of that joke that I've heard is that I can't pay attention for the life of me, but when I do, it's remarkably clear. Got HD ADD.
Nice.
I also ran that joke. Okay, the thing that I noticed, this isn't like I like it or don't like it. It's always fascinating to me to be watching a foreign film and see how American characters or how the U.S. is portrayed or what another country like view of what the U.S. means. It's always kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Whether it's like a story beat or if it's like legitimately just kind of the perception of the U.S., even down to like when you see English speaking characters like in this movie and the kinds of dialogue that is written for them that's like so like kind of weird and kludgy.
Yeah.
and stilted. Like, is that how they think we talk? Like, it's always fascinating to me to see that. And also like what's her name, who's like, she's not an ambassador, but she's like from the US.
Kyoko.
They like go out of the way to have all these scenes where she like switches to English, maybe to like try and sell the believability of her being an American like bureaucrat or something. But the English just isn't very strong,
Yeah.
So that also got me thinking about like, is a Japanese audience watching this and be like, oh wow, she can speak English so well. Whereas like I'm watching going like, ooh, it's hard for me to believe that you are the daughter of like a US senator and grew up in the US.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly.
Which is like it's interesting, but
I feel like I had something about that. Yeah, and like I think too, like there's the point where they're in the briefing room with all the other ragtag group of people. She's introducing the data that they got from Goromaki, and she like looks at Higuchi and is like, "I'm bad at formality," or I'm bad at formal Japanese.
Can we switch to informal or something?
Yeah, exactly, like that, like very American. Like I don't, speak English kind of thing. So you're in America, speak English, kind of like that like. I got that vibe from that kind of thing too. So, and the whole like I came straight from a party and I didn't have time to change. Where's Azara? Like,
what was that? I don't remember that.
When they first introduced her.
Is that one of the lines?
Yeah, it's the very last. It's the end of the scene where they introduce her, and she stands up and goes, "Huh." I was at a party and I didn't have time to change and anything. And she's wearing like a nice dress and a bomber coat or whatever. She's like, "Where's Azara?" Like, yeah. And then they just cut.
which is funny because I just went to Zara earlier today.
Interesting. I've never been to one.
I like their stuff a lot, but they don't make it at my size.
Yeah, that sounds like H&M for me.
Anyways, something I noticed.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you first.
Well, I remembered, as long as we're talking about the English thing, there was that joke in this movie. So,
what was the...
So there's the scene where they're essentially the one older dude is trying to convince the prime minister that he should get out of there. Like, you need to evacuate the city kind of thing.
Yes.
And they're going to put him in the helicopter. And then Higuchi and Akasaka or whatever are like, well, yeah, we'll go by car and meet you there eventually. And that old dude turns around and says, right, you better get going. Because they're talking about... And up to this point, they're making this huge, like, deal about how they had to evacuate millions of people, and it's going very terribly, right? And then this dude's talking about, oh, well, we'll just take a car and meet you wherever you fly to. And so the old dude turns around and goes, right, you better get going. Traffic is going to be murder.
That's what it is in English.
Yeah, and that is the subtitle in the movie too. But that joke does not land to us That's in funny. English because of the way he says it in Japanese. But like in the English version, it's exactly how he says it. He goes, right, you better get going. Traffic is going to be murder. Like,
wow.
The only joke in the movie. Oh, well, other than it's like the Zara quip and then that are like the two little like...
That's about it. It's pretty like serious film.
Yeah.
I noticed, this is so random, there's a bunch of moments where there's like press conference-y footage happening, that kind of thing, and there's a sign language interpreter. And I was just noticing like the flow of the sign language in Japanese was like...
I never noticed that.
Super different than like...
ASL.
It was more, water bendy, kind of like
interesting.
For like a better term, like it had a smoother flow or something. Like I'm not well versed in.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean because I've watched people do.
It just stood out to me.
Like American Sign Language is very like, I don't know. It feels like a manager of a baseball team calling freaking stuff to his pitcher or whatever. American Sign Language does anyways, like... Yeah,
it reminded me that, like, every country and language has got, like, their own version of sign language, and just might look
I've never noticed
different.
That. That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't think too long about it. I just noticed there was a bunch of scenes, and all of those, like, press conference scenes had, like, an interpreter going on, so I had, like, more opportunities to, like... My eye was drawn to that. Probably because of, like, the Japanese with the subtitles. So, like, I'm more reading the subtitles than, like, listening to the language as much, which means my eye can wander to something like that a little bit more. But, yeah, like, the whole boats in the rivers thing, just piles of CG boats, probably. They look great. Just piling up on top of each other, just getting pushed. Just this idea of, like, almost like Godzilla's like a bulldozer just pushing through. Just keeps pushing, and eventually stuff gives away.
Yeah. While we're on that, the first teaser trailer for this movie in 2015 or whenever they started teasing it was that scene cropped in so you can't see Godzilla. It's just boats going
nuts.
And then it cuts to people going crazy, just running and screaming and and then one single giant like footstep and then black. And that was it.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Less is more, brother. That's good. The blood out of the gills thing, super sweet.
Yeah, dude.
I think doing it the one time they did it and the way they did it contributed to me expecting to see that happen again several times, but it never happening.
Yeah, you get one more
maybe
kind
that's
of
on
like...
purpose, maybe not.
When they bomb him, when the stealth bombers hit him, there's some kind of like you see it like explode out of his back, basically, but there isn't like a
But he
just
doesn't
kind
have
of
gills at that
random-
point. It's not the
no.
gills thing.
It's not the
That
gills, and it's
feels
not
like
just
damage.
a random like giant dump of blood either. It's just like
Right. The gills thing was super random.
like literally switching over to oxygen from water, oxygen conversion. So crazy.
Yeah. The silly eyes. It was just so goofy, but I
it's
liked
like
it.
goofy,
It reminded me of
but, like,
something I can't like figure out.
I like that's those kind of things are what I attribute to, like, those are the horror elements of the
Yes.
film. Like it's a very horrific design, the entire thing, all the evolutions, but like
Which, like, again, almost reminds me of like those It movies, which you totally should watch.
yeah.
Just in that I don't know, like the child entertainment related kind of imagery recontextualized can be very terrifying. Like the whole idea of like a clown that has like this dual image in our culture of like, it's one thing, but then it's also this other thing, depending on how it is framed. Just like the goofiness of the eyes. Have you seen Something Somewhere Everywhere Something All at Once? I can never remember the actual words of that movie.
Everything
Everything Something all
yeah,
that's the one.
I have not, no.
Oh my god, you would love that movie so much.
Okay.
That would probably be in your top 3 if you watched it right now.
Really? What?
Maybe top 5.
Really?
I feel that you would really like it. Yes, for a lot of reasons. I'd happy to be proven wrong. But I was very happy to see that like clean house of the Oscars, however many years ago it did.
Yeah, adding it to the watch list.
Dude, absolutely. There's just so many cost-effective and amazing visual effects in that film. Just wild things happen.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. 2022.
Yes.
Yep.
Definitely watch that film.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I wrote down like those train cars flying. I feel like that's literally shot for shot. I'm pretty sure, like in the original, I'm pretty sure he like takes a train car and like bites it in the 54. But there's definitely a shot of like a train just being sent flying through the air, and like a shot, it's like a miniature close-up shot of like miniature train cars just flying across the screen. Notice that. Immediately noticed the timpani music.
Yep.
Just because we just watched Evangelion.
I always thought it was very interesting that he just was like, I'm using this. Like,
yeah. I'm like, well, it's from something else, but now it's also from this, I guess. Why not?
Yeah.
Favorite shot in the movie, and I need to revisit this. I think it's just the best shot in the movie. It is Godzilla's walking. He must be out. I think it's when he's walking from one city to the other city, and he hasn't reached Tokyo yet. I think there's a shot where he's walking kind of like parallel to a road. There's a tracking shot where a car, you get the POV from like in a car driving past.
Oh, yeah.
And it's pointed up his body towards his head, and it tracks with him as like the car goes by, and you get kind of like this slow like shift perspective, like the visual like Doppler effect, if you will.
Yeah.
Terrible analogy, but that just sold the scale of that thing better than anything else in the movie did. That one shot.
That reminds me, there is a shot
excellent.
that similarly for me really sold the scale. Is there's one from like street level, like you're like looking up to the roofs of the buildings almost, and his tail just hovers by silently, but just like
so quietly.
Just yeah.
I love that car tracking shot. I need to like find it again. It's so good.
It's a great shot.
Of course, the breath charge up. I wrote down like a propane burner. Like that was fresh in my mind because I went camping with some friends like last month, and we had like one of those little stoves, and it's exactly like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The noise
like
and everything too, even that like
very interesting noise.
Like
yes,
so
the unhinged jaw with like the you're looking into a black hole thing. His mouth.
It's incredible. Absolutely amazing.
Very much reminds me of one of the It movies. I forget. It might be the first one where we see something wild. Yes. And it's like glowing in his mouth. It's like very similar.
That moment where they're about to get in, like he starts glowing and then they cut to the prime minister and they're about to get on the helicopter and that one dude's like, the creature's back has begun to grow and that's all we know. Like, okay, great. Thank you. Like he turns around, I wonder what it could be glowing for. And then just
boom. Because they don't know about that either. Best line in the film, which is a summary of many other films we've watched. Man is more frightening than Gojira.
Yeah. I find it very interesting they give it to her.
They're talking about contemplating like a third nuke. And there is a lot of heaviness in the film. Excellently done, I think, with characters contemplating, do I want to be the one responsible for, signing off on a third nuke on Japan?
Yeah.
And like the significance of that choice. It's like within that context that I think that line happens. I want to say it was what's her name that says it.
It's Ogashira, the really smart expert chick that they bring in at the beginning that is talking about it being like a lungfish or whatever. And the one that thinks she's the one that has the theory about him running on nuclear fission. And then the dude is like, a sense of humor, Miss Ogashira? Like, that's impossible. Right. And then...
Yes. The ending tail shot, of course, was also very sick.
So great. Hey, what did you think of that?
I immediately Google that. I'm like, what does it mean? Is there a sequel? Are they planning,
Right. The scene
the answer
where
is no, I believe. There's no sequels planned.
Well, there was news a couple weeks ago.
They're doing a sequel to -1, and they want to do like their own Avengers universe.
Right. But I also saw that like Toho and Hideaki Anno were both kind of going like, yeah, maybe we should do another one kind of thing. So that's the vibe that I got from what I saw.
They're flirting with each other.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Oh, okay. So the shot, one of my favorite shots in the movie is where they get the genome mapping back and...
Oh, the origami thing?
Well, the origami thing is really freaking cool too, but the shot where it's like you're looking at them all crowding around a MacBook and they're pointing at the screen, but then there's the graphics like hovering over as if you're looking from behind the computer display.
From the screen, yes, that was very cool.
And he shuts it and you see a half-second flash of like the keyboard on the laptop, on the MacBook, like such a cool shot. And I don't know how they did that. Especially where he like shuts the laptop. I mean, I guess you could fix that real easy. But like, yeah, just such an interesting idea that you're like, because you literally like that little section opens with the dude setting his laptop down on the table as he's like running into the room, and there's just this data floating in front of you, like in between you and them, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was exactly
and everybody's
like
coming around and pointing at the screen and like
it's exactly like when you mount a camera to an object and you're carrying the object around.
Yeah,
it's like the object's POV.
Yeah,
and then you set the object down and the camera like locks.
Yeah,
to the object. It's exactly like that, but done like digitally, virtually, so to speak.
Somehow, yeah.
That was cool. Yeah, a lot of great like visual decisions in this movie.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun, and it gets. I hope you watch it again. Even just for fun, because it really does get better the more you watch it.
Maybe we'll do it in English.
Yeah, in English, I would say mostly for some like inflection things and the way things are said. But
sure. Yeah. I've talked long enough. I loved it. I gave it an 8 out of 10, 4 out of 5. We'll say 4 out of 5 is the scale we're working with.
Yeah, cool. 4 out of 5. You get 5 out of 5.
I couldn't help comparing it to -1 within the context of it being a modern Japanese Godzilla film with critical acclaim that's sort of a love letter, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They're different kind of Godzilla movies. They really are. what sells Godzilla -1 for me is the human story that's in it about that guy and his journey.
Yeah, for sure.
And all of that. I don't know if I connected personally with that more. I found that storyline more interesting than focusing on like the politics of dealing with the crisis. I just felt that the one in Godzilla's -1 was like a more compelling story.
I mean,
but yeah,
and that's kind of how I feel about it too. Is like it's really hard for me to say that I like Godzilla -1 more than Shin Godzilla. But you're right. Like the story of that, that movie made me. I don't know. I had to think long and hard about why I like Shin Godzilla so much after seeing -1 a couple times. But for me, this still wins because of the
lore.
I got the lore, but also just it feels so uncanny and slightly unsettling and very
You like that, huh?
I do, and it harkens me back to when I saw the first Godzilla movie when I was little and how it made me feel very creeped out and this is terrifying. Yeah, I don't know. I like the creepy crawlies, I guess.
2 thumbs up.
Way up, buddy.
Way up.
What is our? Oh no! Before I ask you that, I didn't really find any. I feel like we've done a lot of trivia mixed kind of throughout here. I didn't find anything that stood out to me that I wanted to put on a list of specific.
I didn't look up anything
trivia about the movie. I mean,
I kind of assumed you would cover that.
A lot about what I talked about is really what you could talk about the trivia. Just all of the homages to 1954 and
Sure.
we talked about how he's not a suit, but it is mocap and CGI and the unsettling tail ending and really just that being there is a way to just kind of keeping everybody feeling uneasy after credits have rolled. What was even going on there?
Apparently, what's her name? Who played the American girl?
Kayako.
She didn't realize she was cast as an American character, so she had to learn some English.
Oh, wow!
Adds up.
Yeah.
I am now scrolling through the trivia just to see if anything stands out to me. But I have a question to ask you actually.
Sure.
While I continue to scroll through this, do you know anything about, or have you seen the other Shin movies? There's a movie called Shin Ultraman, which was not done by this director, and then there is Shin Kamen Rider, which was done by this director, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not. They're not Godzilla movies, but they are, I believe, considered to be kaiju films, Japanese culture-wise.
Yeah, they are. They're also, both of those are Toho characters.
Yep, Toho movies.
I've
Have you seen them?
I've seen Shin Ultraman. I like Shin Ultraman a lot. It was pretty good. And I think I started Kamen Rider and I never finished it. Not because
it wasn't rated super highly, but
yeah, and that may have been part of why I finished it, but also life was happening. I feel like I was watching those around the time that Max was born, so around Christmas, and then life. Yeah. So what was the question again?
Oh, I was just wondering if you knew anything about the naming convention. They're all 3 named Shin, insert kaiju name
Shin,
here.
Shin, yeah.
And I was wondering if there is considered to be any sort of connection between them as Toho films named that way about kaiju produced by Toho, 2 of them by this director, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, it was.
I wasn't sure if you knew anything about that.
It was them toying with the idea of a Japanese heroes universe kind of Avengers kind of thing. Kind kind of putting them all together under one, like kind of saying that those are all within one universe kind of thing. And I think at the time they may have been a little hesitant about it because maybe they weren't sure how it was going to go with the Avengers kind of stuff. But I think that they can see now that it's working, like these like shared universe or like we're staying on the same timeline kind of thing is working for legendary films and that side of the Godzilla universe. So maybe that's why they're willing to give -1 a sequel and maybe try a Shin sequel as well, because they're starting to see that people really do like alternate timeline universe kind of things follow a flow. The audiences like that, and they don't just want to see the same origin story 7 times or whatever. So, yeah,
okay,
yeah. It just was that they were, it was just them toying around with the idea of like, let's do a Avengers style shared universe kind of thing. But then they never went any farther than that.
I got 2 items here. One trivia item to end our time, and then also something I just remembered. A couple shots earlier in the film. Wow, we've been talking a long time. When Godzilla goes back into the sea, there's a couple shots showing just this trail of destruction. You can see clearly from that place in the city all the way to the water. The idea being like a path has been carved to the city where normally you wouldn't be able to see straight through, but like the path of destruction is so obvious. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Trivia item. So they're using pump trucks to pump not anticoagulant, but coagulant into Godzilla's mouth. Apparently these type of boom pumps were used to cool down the damaged reactors at the Fukushima plant. Similar kind of thing.
Interesting.
So it's possible. It's possible some Japanese audiences would notice that and you make the connection, especially like administering things to a radioactive thing. Yeah, that's cool.
I thought it was kind of interesting that I don't know if they talk about this in any other films because like they've talked about his radiation being like fallout from his radiation on populations before. I don't think in anything that we've watched yet, but they do deal with that. But like towards the end of the film where like, they've won or whatever. And, the one girl is like, they've realized what his half-life is. Like this radioactive isotope has a half-life of, just a couple days or something. And then like all of that stuff, all of the radioactivity that they're dealing with will be gone in a couple of years. And how that is so much different than what actually happened in real life with the half-life of what did we use for nuclear power? Uranium. The half-life of uranium is like pretty long, actually.
Yeah. But it was like a relief moment where they're like,
a relief moment, and another little like, hey, we kind of thought a little bit about the science behind this kind of thing or whatever. It wasn't just we're going to talk about radiation because it's scary kind of thing. So, yeah. Well, do you have anything else? That's good. You're ready to rock and roll? Ready to get out of here? Cool.
Sir.
I got a couple things. One is to go check out Patreon. We've been recording now for an hour and 52 minutes, roughly an hour and 50 minutes. I know for sure I'm taking some of this out and not putting it in the full episode. So if you would like to see us really get into the nitty gritty of this, you can subscribe to our Patreon. It's $1 a month. You can also
Pocket change.
You can also pay to just buy a single episode if you want to try it out before you subscribe. I don't know why you would do that, but I've also priced that higher than a subscription. You have to pay at least $8 for it if you just want to buy one episode, because haha.
You can subscribe to our Patreon for 18.74 Mexican pesos.
And then cancel it if you don't. I'm not going to be mad about that, but don't. So patreon.com/the one about Godzilla movies. We're also available on YouTube as a video or like on all podcast players. So just let me shill for a second and say, like, please give us a like, leave a little comment or a review. Any little like interaction gives us a little bit of a bump towards maybe actually being seen by more than 3 people someday. So that's really fun. Our next movie is...
I feel like it's also fair to say if you like see us on social media or something and there's something you want us to talk about, just like send us a message,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you've got questions for us.
We like to talk about stuff.
Yeah, we love to talk about stuff. So get in here. Get in on the conversation. If you wanted to be on this week's show, you had to be listening last week. Our next film is from 1968. Going back into order here, Destroy All Monsters. And I'm going to try something new here. I'd love to give you, Brian, and our listeners just a little kind of like preview synopsis of what we've got coming up in Destroy All Monsters. So Destroy All Monsters takes place in 1999, as it's, the near future as envisioned in 1968. And in 1999, Earth has corralled all of its giant monsters, Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, Anguirus, and others, onto Monsterland, a secure habitat. Then aliens come and seize control of the monsters using mind control technology. The creatures are released on all of the major cities of the world in a coordinated attack. Rodan hits Moscow, Mothra hits Beijing, Godzilla trashes New York, and humanity is essentially fighting back and eventually like breaks the aliens' control, leading to this crazy like free-for-all on Mount Fuji, where every Toho monster ends up fighting on him in a massive brawl. So, and somehow
sounds like the Avengers of the Showa era.
Exactly. It's just Monster Mash, Kaiju, Rock'em Stock'em All Star, wrestling, sci-fi frosting.
Sci-fi frosting
with sci-fi frosting. It's a Monster
The width
Mash.
wasn't what I was objecting to, Caleb. The width wasn't any part I was objecting to. Of all of the words that I was objecting to in sequence, width wasn't the one.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, all of this it was like Toho was planning on this being the last Godzilla movie. So they just they threw the kitchen sink at it.
And then money.
Yeah. So that's what we got coming up next time. I'm excited for it just because of the we are in prime silly season for Godzilla films. Prime silliness, dancing and everything. So that's it.
Sick.
Do you want to say goodbye?
We'll see you on the next one. I'm so good at this.